Chris, we're here ahead of the FAI Amateur Women's Cup final on Saturday, of course. How's the preparations going?
Preparations have been going great, Kieran. There's a great buzz around the club since we won the semi-final. You can see it. I suppose women's football in the country seeing it with the senior women's team ready to play in the World Cup, and we're sort of seeing that on a local level. Like the semi-finals, we had our young kids from the under-10s out being mascots for the girls, and huge crowd of them out supporting them, and we're seeing exactly what women's football across the country is seeing at the moment, between interest and participation. It's been brilliant, and obviously getting to the final has just given that a real lift at the perfect time, and probably the circumstances and how we won the semi-final as well sort of give it an extra bit of excitement. Winning semi-finals are always going to give you that bit of excitement, but to do it with the late goal and extra time just sort of added a bit of magic to that.
This has not just been building this year, it's been building over the course of time. It wasn't not too long ago that Bonagee didn't even have a women's team. How has this came about from your perspective?
Well, I suppose from my perspective, I took over in the winter of 2017, and this was something, not even talking about winning this competition, but having the club competitive at national level was one of the primary aims when I took over. And it's been a slow build. The first 2 years in this competition, we lost quarter-finals and lost them narrowly, 1-0 both times. Lost the first in Castlebar and then lost to Tech United in 2019. Then it was funny, we won the league for the first time up in Donegal in 2019, but we lost 2020 completely due to COVID. And since that, it's been almost entirely a complete rebuild, even though there's still a lot of players that are still, have been part of the journey from day one. It still feels, since we come back in 2021, it's been a fresh sort of a restart, and to get back from maybe not quite square one, but not far off it. It's been tough, but again, we've set the bar high, and it's it hasn't been easy to get here. We got to the semi-final last year, and probably that done us a lot of good in terms of it. It showed us that we felt we were one of the top intermediate sides in the country, and that game and the subsequent Senior Cup game in Cork showed us that we still had a few percentage points to find. And to get back here this year, we were lucky with home draws this year. We got actually all of our games so far at home.
Yeah.
People say that maybe home advantage doesn't count, but it's still the pitch and 2 goal posts. But it certainly worked to our advantage, particularly in the last 2 games when they're really tough games with nothing in it. The home advantage really counted for us. But to get back here has been brilliant for the football club and brilliant for the group of players who have stuck with us over the years.
Not just that, brilliant for Donegal, of course, as well as a whole, because Cockhill Celtic got to the Intermediate Cup final on the men's side. Now you're replicating that Bonagee on the women's side. It shows us something happening there.
100%, Kieran. And something I've said over the last few weeks is, and I talk about other sports and I talk about football teams from Donegal in this, sometimes from Donegal we sort of hide and we sort of use geography as an excuse, and we sort of have a bit of an inferiority complex. But if you look at the women's international teams over the years, the players that have contributed from Donegal, even you look at the men's, the amateur international team recently, Lee McColgan and Jack Park, and actually playing and actually competing at that level. There's no reason why teams from Donegal can't be competitive, and I do think sometimes we need to show a bit more ambition and a bit more confidence in ourselves, because there's no question there's good footballers. There's no question of the talent come from Donegal, and I'm like a broken record saying this within our own group. There's 2 teams from this can contest the final. Why can't it be us? Why can't we aim as other clubs have done around the country? Why can't we set the bar high, and why can't we go and achieve? And Cockhill Celtic have shown that. They hit the crossbar a couple of times in terms of getting to the final, and probably left this year's final behind them. But for teams like Cockhill and teams now like ourselves, we're sort of showing the way and showing that it is possible from Donegal, and there shouldn't be barriers in front of you, and certainly the barriers shouldn't come from within.
Like you said previously there, but you have had home ties throughout this competition so far. A trip to Galway now for the final. What's those preparations? How's that going to differ for the final?
Well, I suppose we've had quite a few away journeys over the years, and quite a few overnight stays, so it's not going to be anything new to us. I think maybe in a way the overnight stay could work in our favour, because sometimes games like this, if players are waking up in their own houses, they can be affected by the bit of excitement. Everyone's naturally going to be talking about it, but possibly that might work, might be something that we can use to our favour, that we have the girls now in the bubble from we get on the bus on Friday afternoon. And look, no matter where you're playing a final, it's just so exciting, and it's great to be there. It's first and foremost great for the football club to finally be on the national stage in a final. And preparations for us, the finals come around, I suppose, quicker than we'd have expected. But again, if games like this sort of are a bit in the distance, you can maybe, it can inhibit you a wee bit, because you're always looking forward and you can take your eye off the ball in terms of local stuff. We still have a league game before the final against Letterkenny Rovers, and we have to just treat this as much as we can as if it's just another game. Okay, there's a prize at the end of it, and it's a huge prize, but at the end of the day, it's still a football match over 90 minutes, and one that we have to prepare and we have to be at our optimum best for.
Well, good luck, Chris, on Saturday.
Thanks a million, Kieran.